What's up, fantasy football people? Welcome back. This is the Fantasy Football Channel. We are the Schluter Bros. We are here to get you draft ready this year. We move through each NFL roster. Fire the cannons, Adam. We got the Tampa Bay Bucks this week. We're going to dive into their 2025 fantasy football impacts. What's up, Mr. Nashville? How you doing?
Doing wonderful, man. Welcome back. Welcome back. How was your July 4th, brother?
Good, good. I did not blow off any fingers, although I got close.
Oh my, yeah, you did. No, you good. You do any fireworks over there or what?
Not me, nope.
All right, fair enough. Me neither. I like to stick away from that. I like my appendages as well. Alrighty, folks. Today we are headed to Tampa Bay after an explosive year that they had. We're going to cover some recent NFL drama in the news. There's a bit out there that I like to talk about. We're going to overview the Buccaneers, break down their fantasy relevant players, most importantly, and then we'll finish with head coaching, O-line breakdown, some Buccaneers acquisitions. Without further ado, let's grab a drink and let's dive in, folks. But
Cheers.
first
Cheers.
and foremost, we have a new fun little segment today, Tinder Draft. What we're going to do is we're each going to provide 5 players that you're going to either swipe right or swipe left on that we would like to draft or not. Kyle, are you ready?
Ready.
All right. Right's good, left is bad, folks.
Okay.
Number 1, Rashee Rice.
I'll swipe right for Rasheed.
Love that. Number 2, Zay Flowers.
I would also swipe right.
Oh, okay. We're on a roll here. Chuba Hubbard.
I would draft Trevor. That's a swipe right. Yep. That's a three straight.
My God, you're going to fall in love this week yet. Calvin Ridley
I'm out on Ridley.
and Romeo Dobbs.
I'm also out on Dobbs.
Alrighty, pick one, break it down for me.
I mean, Rasheed Rice, he was off to a record year before his injury early last season.
Mm-hmm.
So, assuming he can come back healthy, I would expect, a little bit of maybe I would call it just timid play adjusting toward the beginning of the season. And he's a guy I think could have a really strong breakout second half of the year. That's how I look
Top
at him.
top 10 wide receiver potential this year.
That's a steep price. Um,
Let's say
I think he
potential. You don't have to
could. I
guarantee
think
it.
he could finish as a wide receiver 10. I think that's
Okay.
a possibility. I
Okay.
don't think it's as probable, but I think it's a possibility.
With how he played when he was healthy, I could absolutely see him being a top 10 this year, just with the homies there.
Yeah, just with that team in general, though. I mean, they don't really
Yeah,
target specifically one. Although in the beginning of last year, he was the target monster.
absolutely.
Okay, you ready?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
You got your Tinder app up.
Oh, sure. Never. You don't have it, but yes.
Kyler Murray,
Left. I'm out.
Sam Laporta,
Right. I'm in.
George Pickens,
Right.
CG, Chris Godwin,
Left.
Matthew Golden.
I have to. Ooh, that is an interesting one. Was not prepared for that. I hope he does wonderful, but I'm left on that. Too many mouths to feed and too much uncertainty there with Green Bay. Um, Out of those, though, I would like to talk about Mr. Pickens,
Do it.
freshly in Dallas. Freak athlete, explosive speed, number 2 receiver for the first time in his career. Due to those number 2 DBs being on him and Dak throwing to him, I think he is going to have a phenomenal year. Obviously, he has some theatrics and he's a little bit of a character out there, which is fun to watch. But I think he's gonna have a great year, and I think having your boy, your number one, helping kind of educate him and be a professional, I think that's really going to help him. So I think it's going to be a great year for Mr. Pickens.
I like to hear that. I have him in Dynasty.
There we go. There we go.
All right. Sounds good. You ready to get into the drama?
Always, baby. Let's do it.
Well, not a diva, but Najee, good old Najee, RB for the Chargers, had a little fireworks incident, a little reminisce of JPP.
Yeah,
Anyways,
man.
apparently he suffered an eye injury um, at a fireworks event over the 4th of July. However,
Dude.
he is expected to be fully ready for week one.
I mean, what are you doing? You staring down at a bottle rocket? What are we doing? Eventually, sooner or later, these NFL owners are going to put in their contract. If you mess around with fireworks, we're voiding your
They
contract.
should. That should
I
be in
mean,
there.
what are we doing? Don't get close to it. Let someone else light it for Christ's sakes and get back. But neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Other news, NFL. It sounds like an 18th game is going to be inevitable. Obviously, with another game comes more money. And as we know in this capitalistic world, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. The biggest debate with that is, and the issue with that is, the players are begging for a bye week to be implemented, another bye week to be implemented if this happens. And it sounds like the NFL doesn't want that as much because then that messes up the schedule of the season. It pushes it past President's Day for the Super Bowl, things like that. But Patrick Mahomes, the face of the NFL, did say we would absolutely need another bye week. So the Players Association, the NFL, they're going to have to figure that out.
See
With
who's
that
got
said,
more
more
pull there.
football, more fun. So I'm for it. I'm for it.
Oh yeah. TJ Watt wants to be the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. I mean, don't we all?
We sure do. Does he get it though? I mean, does the Steelers give it to him, do you think?
I haven't been current on that. What is the latest there?
So, I mean, they're in talks with it and they're kind of at a standstill because it sounds like he wants to be the highest non-paid and it sounds like they don't want to do it. However, I saw a statistic with the Steelers with TJ Watt and without. And
That's a big
without, they
difference,
are
I
like
bet.
1 in 17 or 1 in 20. It is like they are terrible without him. So I think when push comes to shove, if you're talking week one and we're getting that close, they're going to have to pay the man because without him, they're SOL.
And considering they went out and got Aaron Rodgers on a one-year deal, DK Metcalf, I don't know how they don't make that happen for him. Otherwise, that's
For,
going to be a drastically different experience, in my
for
opinion.
sure. If not, send him to Green Bay. He's whispered about wanting to play there, so we'll take
I'm
him.
fine with either of those outcomes.
True. Very true.
All right, one more.
Hit it.
Darren Waller. Yeah, out of retirement to Miami to replace Jonnu Smith. A conditional trade from the Giants, getting a sixth this 2026 and then a seventh in 2027. You think he can still play? What do you think, Adam?
I do. I do think he can still play. I think he's got another good 1 or 2 years in him. I mean, this guy was a freak show when he was healthy. I mean, when he played for Oakland, he was an absolute stud. He's an athletic freak. I was confused how someone retires and the Giants still have rights to him, where they actually had to trade for him. I was a little bit confused by that. But I like this from Miami. Clearly, this is what Miami was thinking before they traded away Jonnu Smith.
Yeah.
So clearly, they've had this kind of planned out in their minds.
Yeah, I mean, I also see as Jonnu Smith was also an older tight end, so
Yeah, I
I
mean, they're
think
both definitely
this
older.
makes sense for them, and I think this is probably the best offense he's ever played in.
Yep.
So if ever for him to be somewhat productive at the end of his career, I think this is it.
Absolutely. Finish it out good in Miami, man. Make them Dolphins proud. All righty, folks. We are breaking down the Buccaneers today, and we're going to start with their overview. NFC South last year, they led the division, and what a pitiful division it is. Buccaneers, Falcons, Panthers, Saints. Buccaneers finished 10-7, lost first round of the playoffs. It was a really great year for them, both offensively and defensively. They impressed a lot of people, myself included. And I'm about to tell you why with some of these statistics. Their total offense ranked third overall in the NFL, 399 offensive yards per game, 59 total touchdowns. And in passing, and this may surprise some of y'all, third overall in passing with 250 passing yards per game and 41 total passing touchdowns. So Baker put out last year, had an outlier season. And then in rushing, not far behind, ranked fourth with 140 rushing yards per game, 16 total rushing touchdowns. And this team has a pretty great defense with a great, coaching defensive mindset in there as well. Let's face some facts, though. It's a trash division, and that definitely helps, folks. Kyle, anything else
Yep.
on the overview of the Buccaneers?
Yeah, that's just like you said. I think bad division.
Yep,
I think it will be a little more competitive this year, but I still think it's a bad division. They were really, to me, probably one of the standout offenses in 2024. Like
100%.
Baker, complete outperformance. Bucky, complete outperformance. Mike Evans, just consistent wide receiver one domination. So, but this year they do have a much more difficult schedule despite their division. So I would be projecting a lot of regression from this offense despite their outperformance last year going forward.
Okay. Okay. There's a little foreshadowing for you folks for what we're about to dive into.
You ready to get into the fantasy football playoffs?
I'd love nothing more. Let's do it, baby.
All right, all right. Well, let's start off with Baker, Mr. Mayfield. I mean, hats off to you, man.
For
Wow,
real.
you really outperformed last year. I don't think anybody saw that coming. He finished as QB4. So just congratulations. What a resurgence for that guy. Current ESPN projections have him at QB7. His ADP currently is 59th overall. I'm just going to highlight this again. Last year, he threw for 4,500 yards and 41 touchdowns.
Big time numbers right
Uh,
there. Those are
wow.
Joe Burrow-esque big time numbers.
Wow. Anyways, so this year ESPN has him at QB7, going for 4,100 yards, 33 touchdowns, basically 60 less fantasy points on the season. I am even lower on him than that. What I see here is this to me smells, tastes, feels just like Geno Smith's breakout year and then the regression afterward. So that's what's up my nostrils right now, and I can't get it
Wow.
out.
That's a lot of senses over there.
They also have a different offensive coordinator. Liam Cohen has gone to Jacksonville. So, I mean, I got to put a lot of his success last year toward that guy.
Sure.
I don't see any way around it, you know. They do retain their passing coordinator as their new offensive coordinator. So maybe he's also part of it, and maybe there's enough consistency there to be able to put up similar type numbers. However, I am way lower on him than the consensus. What's your thought?
Well, let me echo a little bit of what you're sniffing over there, okay?
Tasting,
And it in
feeling,
his
sniffing, everything.
in his first 6 seasons in the NFL, he finished 18th or worse in fantasy points per game at the quarterback position. So this year was absolutely an outlier. I know 2 years ago he had a solid season as well. So I mean, it's an outlier for sure. Kudos to him. Let's do some fun things about him though. He's a fun player to watch. He
He
loves the
is. He's a
game. He
competitor. He loves the
sacrifices
game.
his body out there.
Hmm.
His
Hmm.
teammates love him for that fire that he brings. I mean, there's times where this little guy is running up, getting hit by a linebacker, and just getting in his face. And it's like, oh, I love to see that just raw attitude he has towards
Yeah,
the game,
I
not
love
afraid
that.
to sacrifice his body. And he's got weapons around him. So I mean, that really
Very,
helps when you have
yes.
veteran wide receivers to help throw to, and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and plus they added to it, which we'll go break into. QB7 is his current projection for ESPN. I do not think so. I think he finishes outside of the top 10, somewhere in between 10 and 15. But yeah, I mean, I love watching the guy. I'll give him that more than anything. Am I reaching for him? No. In one quarterback leagues, do I want him as my starting quarterback? Probably not. In two quarterback leagues, though, however, if you have him as your number two somehow, that's great. I mean, if you can pair him with another stud at the quarterback position, love that. But I love watching Baker. Good for you, man. Great season. Anything else you want to touch on with him?
Pretty much echo that, but I'm even a little lower on him than you are. However,
Outside of top
I
15?
think QB2 on my roster would roster again would be the
Rostar.
most with the most I want for him. Honestly, but if you like, this is where I would like it. You pair him with a Joe Burrow, Baker Mayfield, super flex or two QB league. I like that. I like
Yeah,
that.
I think it's gonna be tough to get though. You're gonna have to sacrifice some running backs and wide receivers because of how well he did last year. He's gonna go in the top 10 QBs in most drafts. He's
Yeah, and
absolutely
that's
gonna go there.
another
Someone's gonna
reason I
want him.
probably won't have any of him, but that is the case I would make for him if you're higher on him or a Bucks fan, etc.
Yep.
Let's talk
30 years
about
old,
his
folks.
let's
He's
talk
30.
about his big boy here, Mike,
Ooh-wee.
Dirty Mike.
30
Uh,
Mike and the boys. I
I've
think
been
that was
a
your fantasy team name one year.
been a huge bull on Mike Evans forever, and all the guy ever does is produce 1,000 yard seasons, despite whoever's throwing him the football. I
Yep.
mean, he is the Derrick Henry of wide receivers, in my opinion.
Ooh, I like
He
that
goes out there
comparison.
and he just gets it done,
I
and
really like that
he's a
comparison.
ferocious competitor. You watch
Love
games
that.
with him and Marshawn Lattimore when they played the Saints going at
Oh
it. Like
man, those were epic rivals.
he's
Just
probably
epic
one of the best.
rivals.
He's one of the best receivers of all time, in my opinion. So,
100%. I
um,
mean, just to put some stats towards that. He finished Diva number 7 last year. ESPN projection Diva 16. Current ADP is 42 overall. One thing you did mention, guys, 10 years in a row, he has over 1,000 receiving yards. Who has that type of consistency? Nobody. That
nobody.
is insane. This is absolutely a Hall of Fame wide receiver, one of the best in the business. He's 32 years old. So he's getting there. My likes of him again, Hall of Famer without a doubt. Every single year over 1,000. I mean, that is just mind-boggling consistency that you do not see in the NFL. This likes age and potential for injury. Last year, he injured his hamstring, kept him out for 3 weeks.
Every
Even
year he's got a
amazing.
hamstring injury.
He does have a few of those, but I mean, last year they rushed him back where he was still dealing with the lingering issues of a hamstring, which is something you never want to do because once it's gone and injured, it is so hard to keep running with. And I remember he kept playing through it. It's absolute beast on that. Diva 16, that's a little high for me. I think he finishes just outside of the top 20. And that is no disrespect to you, Mr. Evans, because you are an animal. But I just want a last comparison before I hand it back to you. 32-year-olds do not fare well in the NFL at the wide receiver position. It's normally where they fall off. However, there is 3 examples of people that have done it well at 32: Davante Adams, Keenan Allen, and Adam Thielen. And he is as good, if not better, than any of those 3 cats. So he has the ability, yes, but everyone else has fallen off the cliff come year 32, age 32.
Yeah, as much as I talked him up for being a phenomenal NFL receiver, and I've had him many years in fantasy and loved it. A lot of years he's been one of the more underrated receiver ones. Um, but I'm not. I'm this year. I'm not going to find myself drafting him as much as I have in years past. It is a little bit of the age, a little bit of what I see regression in this offense, injuries, etc.
Yep.
So, I mean, I see him as a budget wide receiver one if you can get him at a value.
I like
I
that
don't
tagline.
I don't like him at his ADP. But I think he's a guy that he could fall potentially because he has in years past, despite
Yeah.
how crazy this offense did last year. Keep in mind he did have 11 touchdowns last year, so
Yes, you did.
I,
74 catches, 1,004 yards, 11 touchdowns, and he missed 3 games, three and a half.
I could
So
see
still
my
great numbers.
forecast for him this year is he's going to miss 6 games and
Ooh.
he'll be under the 10 touchdown mark for sure.
Yeah, I would be shocked if he, is not missing some games as well, just due to the age. And since he's such a deep threat, right? He runs so many sprinting deep routes that's like that is prime ability to injure your hamstring. I am afraid we do not wish it on him at all. We wish him a full healthy season.
Yep,
Uh,
absolutely.
anything else on your boy, Dirty Mike and the boys over there?
No, I think that's it. I mean, I think he's one guy that's just done it every single year, and he's a guy you don't want to bet against. However,
You have
I'm becoming less bullish on him every year.
Sure, and that's fair. I mean, that's just typical aging. Are you mad if he's your wide receiver 2 or flex?
No, that's probably where I do like him the most. I would
Okay,
be mad if he is my wide receiver one.
absolutely. Yep, yep. Okay.
Okay, CG. Speaking of injury, I think he missed the last 6 games of
No,
the
he
year
played. He
last
played
year.
up to week 7. He missed a lot more. He played
Oh,
his
did he?
first 7, and he was out the rest of the year after that due to a dislocated ankle, which is not fun.
Okay. And this is a guy who's consistently had injuries year in and year out.
Yes.
Finished as Diva 56. Early projections are wide receiver 36. His current ADP is 67th overall. And I'm probably out on him for a lot of reasons. Like I don't even like him as a on my team for most leagues, honestly. I don't think he stays healthy.
So you're not drafting Chris Godwin at all due to fear of injury.
I think so.
Okay,
I
that's
mean, if I
fine. Let me
have an
give it.
IR spot and I get him at a value, sure.
Yep,
But I
yep.
mean,
And
even at that ADP, 67, so 10 team, sixth, seventh round, like that's too steep for this, for a guy that just doesn't perform to me and gets injured.
Well, you could say he doesn't perform, but he has performed in his 7 games last year, 50 catches and 5 touchdowns. That's phenomenal in a 7 game spread. So when he was out there, that was phenomenal. But let me add some statistics to what you're worried about with his injury proneness. Last year, dislocated ankle. In 2022, missed 2 games for a hamstring. In 2021, he tore his ACL. In 2020, hamstring issues again. 2019, hamstring issues again. So the guy is a little bit injury prone. He's 29 years old, not as old as Mike, but nonetheless, there's absolute every reason to keep in the front of your mind that he could be out multiple games this season. The only thing on the flip side of that I'll say is he should be well rested and healthy after not playing since week 8 last year. Where I see the most value in Chris Godwin is in PPR leagues. If you're in a standard league, I do not love him as much. In PPR leagues, though, as a wide receiver 3 or maybe a deep flex option. I do think he has some value, especially with how potent this passing offense is.
Yeah. I'm gonna leave it at that. If you want to draft him, you go for it. I'm out on him.
You're out. He is swiping left on Chris
I'm
Godwin,
swiping
folks.
left on
He does not
CG.
want to date with CG.
I've also had him, probably two times on different teams, and it's just been not pretty.
Sure. Great last year though while he was healthy.
Okay, let's move on. Emeka Egbuka,
Oh,
rookie.
that wasn't bad. I'll give you credit for that. It was good enough.
Uh, you want to take away his
Yeah, absolutely.
toot his collegiate career?
Yeah, I mean, early ESPN projections is Diva 59. So they're kind of sleeping on him. And let me remind everyone, this is a first round draft pick. So the organization sat down and said, we know Mike's old. We know Chris Godwin's getting old. We need to replenish this passing or receiving attack. And that's exactly what they did in this draft. They also drafted another person I love in Tez. But this guy is an absolute freak show. Okay. He's got size, he's got speed, he's got hands. This guy is a freak show. His current ADP is 121. So, as we just mentioned, we think we don't hope it. We think Mike Evans and Chris Godwin might not have a full season. Due to that, I like this guy as a sleeper pick. If you can even call it a sleeper pick, I like this cat for his athleticism and for the fact that he's probably going to get some targets on those weeks where those bad boys go down. And since we know this is a potent passing attack, I think you have great value here in this rookie, and I'm normally one that's lower on rookies just because we haven't seen them in the NFL yet. But I like this cat.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to start disagreeing on stuff because I'm 100% in agreement with that.
God
To me,
dang.
this is at ADP. This is my favorite draft pick of the receiving core
In that entire NFL, or it's on this team?
on this team. On this
Gotcha.
team.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
I think he's gonna, as rookies do, I think he could have a slow start, but I think this is a guy that they could utilize in the slot with all three receivers on the field. And I could see him really coming on strong the second half of the year. Or if either of those top two guys miss a lot of football, I think this is gonna be he has the highest probability to outperform ADP of this receiving core, in my opinion.
And he could really outperform it. I mean, just think if, God forbid, both Godwin and Evans went down, he becomes the potential number one target on a heavy passing attack. I mean, there is serious upside to this cat.
Yep.
Do
So
we have
yeah,
anything bad
I
to say
agree.
about it? I
I'm
guess.
not normally as high on rookies, but this is one that I think has a good breakout possibility.
Yep. And I guess on the flip side of that, Mike Evans and CG, they stay healthy all year. Maybe he doesn't do much. There's not enough love to go around if those older cats stay healthy the whole year. On the flip side of that, well
I bet
then
against
I
him.
mean there's only so many targets left over. He's
I have a higher
projected.
probability that one of them won't play a full season, and this guy will come on strong at the second half of the year.
Yeah. Or ESPN has him projected 47 catches, 600 yards receiving, and 5 touchdowns. So that's not huge fantasy relevance, but again, if there's a vacancy on that receiving corpse, those numbers get elevated very quickly.
Hmm. Okay, then the last guy let's talk about is Jalen McMillan. He'll probably be undrafted in most leagues, but I'd like mentioning him. The last 6 weeks of the year when CG was out, this guy had put up good numbers.
Yes, he did.
So if you also have an injury to Godwin or Mike Evans, this is a guy that I think you definitely want on your roster, and see how he's doing. If he can consistently put up the performance again, I'd probably be playing him, especially like in the flex or something.
Yep. Yep.
Outside of those guys getting injured, I'd probably not rostering him.
That's fair. Yeah, no, I think you hit on the head with McMillan. He did do well at the back end of the year, so he does have a little bit of vibrations with our boy Baker. Honorable mention, 7th round draft pick for this team, Tez Johnson out of Oregon, who was an absolute freak show for Oregon. If there's injuries like we've talked about, I could also see him getting some reps and some ability. So that's someone to watch on the free agency wire as the year progresses, because he might be a worthwhile pickup if some guys go down.
Yeah. I got this up. Let me read you Jalen McMillion's stats. Week
McMillian.
McMillian,
McMillian.
McMillian, weeks 14 through 18 against the Raiders, 18 points. This is standard scoring. Against the Chargers, 13 and a half. Against Dallas, 11.7. Against Carolina, 18 points. Against the Saints, 14 points. And that's in standard. He had a
That's
touchdown,
nice.
at least one touchdown every single week.
That's real nice. Maybe he will
Yeah,
get drafted in some leagues due to that. And that's just with Godwin out. I mean, Mike Evans was playing those games. That's just with Godwin out. He was able to do that. And then obviously,
I
the
think
new
Emeka
rookies in
Egbuka is
town
going
with
to be
Emeka.
those three will be the drafted players in most leagues.
For sure.
But I do think he's definitely worth keeping on your radar.
Worthwhile watcher right there.
Cade Otton, currently being
Oof.
a little left for dead. There seems to be a trend here for ESPN leaving a lot of these tight ends for dead.
Where
Finished
did
as
the
tight
tight
end
ends go?
14 and currently projected as tight end 24th, ADP of 172. So I feel like we say this with all of these like below average to mediocre teams. Like he's a tight end, you don't draft one strong, you take a flyer on.
Yeah, we do. We do echo that quite a bit. Not the best guy in the receiving game, not the fastest guy, not the fastest tight end in position. However, he's in a high potent passing offense. So again, if you punt, you get a couple of these leftover tight ends here, not too bad.
Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about him?
No, we'll leave him for dead, just like ESPN did.
I mean, I think he's a below average fantasy tight end, but I think there is potential for him to have some decent weeks. So, depending on how desperate you are for tight end and how deep your league is, I think you should know about him.
Yeah,
Most leagues, he's not going to get drafted.
yeah. 59 catches, 600 yards, 4 touchdowns. Not terrible, but not winning you any championships at the same time.
Basically, a similar projection for this year is what they got going on him.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, let's get into a
Yep.
little bit sexier part of the team.
Boy,
Breakout
is this guy
stud,
sexy. Mm-hmm.
Bucky Irving. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
ESPN projections RB 11th, finished as RB 14th last year. Obviously, he didn't get the majority of the carries until after week 6.
Yep.
I just want to read this. So, uh, until week 6, but was fantasy 10 for running backs from that point on.
That is impressive as a rookie. Very impressive.
5.4 yards per carry.
Oof. That is beautiful numbers. Beautiful numbers. This dude is 22 years old. Last year, and again, we noticed how we didn't come on really strong until week 6. 207 carries, 1,100 yards, and 8 rushing touchdowns. On top of that, 47 catches, 392 receiving yards. This guy is a freak show. He is a guy that can run people over. He is a guy that can have that breakout speed as well. He is a stud. I had Rachaad White last year, and I was absolutely infuriated when I was like, who the heck is this guy? I didn't
Yeah,
even know about Bucky that well yet. I was like, who is this guy? Where did he come from? And I watched him play, and I was like, he's better. He's just flat out better, and
he's
there's nothing
flat
I can
out
say about
better.
it.
He's a
And
good
I
running back.
just, yeah, I had to take that on the chin because this guy's a stud. But yeah, that 5.4 yards per carry is amazing. Also, we're going to give a shout out to the offensive line, which we'll get into. Great offensive line really
Yep.
helps that. And they
Yep.
absolutely have one. You said RB 11 for projections on ESPN. I will say he finishes as RB 8 or better this year.
We're
He
gonna
is a
have we're
freak
gonna
show.
have to duke this out in our rankings then, because I have him at I think RB 12 or 13.
Oh, well, we are off on that, and I love that. I cannot wait to argue and disagree with you over that. I mean,
His
this
current
guy's going to.
ADP is 19th overall.
Well, let's do
So he's
this
a
argument
second
for
round
a
running back
second
in
here.
all formats, pretty much.
22 years old, first 6 weeks, didn't get a lot of the love, still made it as RB 11. So he's definitely a top 10 running back. I mean, just having that full season there without those first 6 weeks where he wasn't the main guy, he's definitely a top 10 running back. He's going to get a year better, and
Okay.
the offensive line has only gotten better.
I
We'll
agree. I like the
continue.
offensive line. Here, I'll give you the top 10 that I have right now, and you tell me if he's better than any of these guys. Bijan, Barkley, Henry, Gibbs, Jacobs, Kyron, McCaffrey, Taylor. And then I have Genty, A-Chain just outside of that.
Better than
The
Henry, I'm going to give it to him out of age. Better than Kyron Williams, I'm going to give him that one as well, just for upside. And Kyron Williams had a ton of touchdowns last year, so there's regression to be said there. And I think there was one other name I would have him better as.
Okay.
So there.
So in the second round, are you happy to draft him in the second round?
As long as it's very late second round, I'm much happier early third if he can make it. ADP is 19.
He's
So
not
if
going to
you're on the
make it.
turn, if you're on the turn in the third, you absolutely
Okay.
get him. But
There's a
if you're
chance
getting
on the
him,
turn at 10 team.
yeah, but if you're on the end of round 2, absolutely. I am thrilled to have him. Are
Okay.
you not? Are you not?
I also like him there, but he's gonna
Okay.
be a second round cat, and I just feel like it's a little rich for my blood. But I do like him.
Okay.
Overall, he is probably the best fantasy option on this team.
Yeah, without a doubt.
But it's in the price. Pick two.
For sure. It is. And I have him in Dynasty, so I'm gonna be riding this guy's back for a long time, just celebrating. Here we go.
Yeah. Okay, so we like him. We like him basically at ADP. I'd like to get him, a little bit less than that. But I
If
don't think you
it's
will.
pick 15 or after, I'm fine with getting Bucky. If you're halfway through the second and you need an RB or you want to go RB, another RB, don't be shy. Do not be shy. He has upside and he's going to get better. And it's a great offensive
So
line.
you're confident with him as your RB1 or your hero RB.
Well, I'm a little stronger at the RB, so I'm trying to take one of those first guys first, and then if I get him as my RB2, thrilled, especially in a standard league,
I
thrilled with
mean,
that.
that's going to be doubtful for a lot of teams. I mean, it'd be more like if you take like a Jamar. No, you wouldn't even be able to get him if you had like a Justin Jefferson and then a Bucky Irving.
I
That'd
mean,
probably be
that's
that'd
not a
probably
bad
be your
start.
first two picks
That's not a bad
for
start
one
though. I ain't
QB.
complaining with that.
Okay. All right, we're fine with him there. Rachaad White
Counterpart. Yep.
projected
Counterpart.
as RB 42, finishes RB 24. Current ADP is 126.
Yeah, so that's another
So
highlight here. Those are some big gaps there.
that's a huge, it's a 10 round gap.
Finished RB 24, early projection RB 42, huge gap, current ADP 126, huge gap. So they are projecting tremendous regression from him. And let's face some facts. Rachaad White is a great running back. He is fast, he is explosive, and he can catch the ball just as good as any running back in the league. So when I say that, especially in PPR leagues, he has value. He absolutely has value. Is he going to be the number one guy? As we know, not even close.
Nope.
But I like this guy in PPR for sure. His stats last year: 144 carries, 600 rushing yards, 3 rushing TDs, 51 catches, 393 receiving yards, and 6 receiving touchdowns. So that receiving end of things is really where his value lies, and that's why I like this cat.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I don't like him as much as a great running back per se. I think it's a good offense, great offensive line. I think
Yep.
Bucky Irving is the better running back, but I do think Rachaad White will have fantasy value in PPR formats as the third down receiving guy. 50 catches, 400 plus yards, 5 plus touchdowns through the air is where I see him. So PPR, I like him. I don't know that you can comfortably like flex him every week though. So he's a bench player in PPR formats is where I see him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're probably not going to want to flex them every week. However, as we know, they're in a terrible division. And within that terrible division, there's 6 games out of the year where they may be rolling through teams. And due to that, that might help thwart him. We're like, all right, Bucky's got his 15 carries, 100 yards, and a touchdown. Let's put Rachaad in to do some of the cleanup third and fourth quarter work just because we're up by 14, 21 points. So there is some value there that I see as well.
I don't hate it. I think the division will be a little more competitive. I think
Eh,
Panthers, as much as I hate to
All
say it,
right.
will be a better team. The Falcons, I
Panthers will get
think,
a
will be
little
a better
better.
team. I don't know about the Saints, but I
Saints are
think
not going
those
to
I
be a
think
better
those other
team.
two teams will be better teams.
The
I
Saints
like
are not
them.
going to be a better team.
I like him on my bench in a PPR format. Other than that, I'm probably not drafting him.
Okay. That's fair.
Uh, Coaching. Let's get into the coaches. Head coach Todd Bowles remains head coach for his fourth season. Recently signed a multi-year contract extension. Offensive coordinator Josh Grizzard has been promoted. He was the team's pass game
Wizard.
coordinator. Takes over for
Wizard the
Liam Cole.
Lizard.
Liam Coleman left for the Jacksonville Jaguars head coaching position. And that's to me, when I see an outperformance of an offense like we did last year, and when I see the offensive coordinator leaving, it's like a flag. It's like a yellow flag to me. It's not a red, it's not a complete red flag, but it's like I'm
Just
I'm
a
taking
question
note.
mark.
I'm taking note of this,
Yeah.
and I could see this not being as good as it was last year.
Yeah, it definitely provides a little question mark there. I do see the light in that.
And then The head coach Todd is obviously a defensive-minded guy. He used to be their defensive coordinator.
Great
I
head
think
coach.
he's currently their defensive coordinator as well. So the offensive side of the ball is completely coming from the coordinator and coaching staffs over there, not the head coach. He's more of a defensive-minded guy.
Yes, he is. He's a great
So it's
defensive minded guy.
really going to be Josh Grizzard. Does he got what it takes to be an offensive coordinator in the NFL?
Grizzard the Lizard. We're gonna find out. We're gonna
Grizzard the
find out.
Lizard. Let's
And with a
see
great
this year.
with a great offensive line to help him, I
Okay,
think he can continue the success there, which is what we're going to go into next. Offensive
take it
line, guys,
away.
did phenomenal last year. Before last season started, they thought it would be like around 15, bottom 15. This was a top 10 offensive line from left to right. Tristan Wirfs, Ben Bredesen, Graham Barton, Cody Mosh, and Luke Godecki. They didn't change much to this offensive line, okay? There was one change, and that is, oh God, where is it? Yep. So they got Charlie Heck from San Francisco. Okay, so there was only one guy that kind of changed and came in here. Other than that, this offensive line is staying the same. Tristan Wirfs, your left tackle, is phenomenal.
Was he
So
injured? Isn't one of these guys injured for a couple weeks?
yes, one of them. I think that was one of them did get injured for a little while. And honestly, didn't have much impact because they had a good backup that kind of came and filled in, and they still have a good backup to come in and fill in. But again, the offensive line didn't change much. It's great in the run, great in the pass. It blew away expectations last year, and I think it's going to maintain expectations for this year and being a top 5, top 10 offensive line, which is what allowed them to be so successful with third and passing and fourth and rushing this year. I mean, let's face facts. That's what's required in order to be top 10 offense, and there's not much change here. So I think this is a great offensive line, and due to that, that adds value to any of the players we have talked about today.
Okay. Anything else on the O line?
Yeah, I like them. Bunch of beautiful, big and burlies out there.
Yeah. I think it's one of the best in the NFL.
Definitely.
All right, let's talk about the free agency moves. Some re-signings. Godwin got himself a 3-year extension. I don't know how, keeps getting injured, but anyway, he did.
That'll put him to year 32 once that deal is over. He's 29 now.
Then just not really any fantasy football relevance. Levante David, linebacker, 1-year
What a
deal.
stud. What a stud.
Guard signed a 3-year deal. Ben Bredesen. Kyle Trask, backup quarterback, 1-year contract. Defense lineman Greg Gaines, 1-year deal. Anthony Nelson, outside linebacker, signed a 2-year deal. Some free agent acquisitions, outside linebacker. Oh, Hassan Reddick. That's a notable guy who can rush the passer. I like that.
Absolutely.
And then Heck, you talked about tackle, and then a cornerback and a linebacker. Also, Kendall Vilder and Anthony Walker. So a little bit of extra guys on the defense there. I don't mind that.
Mm-hmm.
And who did they lose in free agency? Center, safety Mike
Hainsey.
Edwards,
Yep.
outside linebacker, tackle Justin School, cornerback.
Come on, you didn't want to say that outside linebacker's name?
No, absolutely not.
Come on, let's give it a try here. What is it?
Joe Tyron Shoyinka.
Yeah, we'll give it to you. It's not bad.
All right, all right. So I mean, this is honestly a team with minimal moves, in my opinion.
Yep. Which is good for them. Which
I
is
think
good for
so
them.
too. I think so too. All right, why don't you go over their draft picks?
Draft picks. They had a good draft. Okay. We already know that they said in the first round, Emeka Egbuka, wonderful wide receiver. I'm going to pair that with what I mentioned earlier. In the 7th round, they got Tez Johnson, okay, wide receiver out of Oregon. He could be a factor in the NFL. Other than that, they went all defense. Quarterback out of Notre Dame, cornerback out of Kansas State, outside linebacker out of Central Arkansas, and then DN in the 5th round, Elijah Roberts. So they stacked onto this already sturdy defense. And since we're running out of time, that's all I'm going to say.
Thanks for tuning in this week. We'll catch you guys on the next one.